Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a level 20 build guide for WYLL in Baldur's Gate 3. So we're going to keep WYLL a Warlock and add in the Paladin and some other things that make this very powerful. And I'll be showing off the combat as well as what armor and gear to pick. So we're going to keep WYLL a Warlock, but in order to maximize efficiency, we want Constitution saving throw proficiency. So for that, we're going to take the Fighter at level 1, which will give us both heavy armor proficiency and Constitution saving throw proficiency, which we won't get if we choose, we won't get both of those if we choose either Warlock or Wizard. And with this, we're going to go with the fighting style defense for the increase to our armor class. And in addition to this, we're going to go with a build focus obviously around charisma, as the Warlock and the Paladin both use charisma. So we're going to go build around that. So we'll take our charisma up to 16, and then we're going to roll with 10 intelligence and 10 wisdom, and then put the rest of our points into either strength or dexterity. So we can roll with the 16 dex, 14 constitution, 10 intelligence, wisdom, and 16 charisma. If you want, you can also use strength potions, but what's most important for us is our charisma, because we can use Pact of the Blade to make that our weapon attack rolls. So dexterity is there to increase our armor class if we were going to wear medium armor, as well as dexterity will also give us a nice increase to our initiative. So something like this can work well, but you can also build around strength if you prefer. It's just going to be a little bit less powerful in terms of your initiative and your armor class. But at level 2, I think it's best to, you can stick with this for the action surge, but we'll come back to that a bit later. We're going to go into the Warlock. You can also go Paladin for the smites, but I think early game, it's best to get Eldritch Blast. So we're going to go with Eldritch Blast there. And for the second cantrip, Bone Chill can be really nice. However, if you got Mistress Spells, Green Flame Blade and Moving Blade are also two really great options. So you can go with that. If not, I would take Bone Chill or Minor Illusion. And for our subclass here, there's a few great choices. I think that the Fiend is nice because it gives you Fireball as a spell. Dual Soul from the Carrier Collection made by Sathos is another fun one, but it's mods. I'm going to keep this a base game, so we'll go with the Fiend here, but you could also go with the Hexblade too if you got mods, or Great Old One, because the Great Old One will give you Frighten on critical hit, but the Fiend gives us better spell selection, I believe. So we're going to go with Command and Armor of Agathis for our early level spells. You can also go with Hellish Rebuke here if you want to for some fire damage, but we're going to go with these two here. Armor of Agathis is nice to give yourself additional temporary health and cold on attacks whenever you get hit with them, so you can dish out a little bit of damage that way too. At level 2, we get to choose our Eldritch Invocations. I think there's a couple really good ones here, most notably the Agonizing Blast, adding our Charisma modifier to Eldritch Blast, and it's a very good spell, and Repelling Blast, which will push them 4.5 meters away. And we can choose another spell, so I think that Hellish Rebuke can be a nice one, but you can also go with Burning Hands, or if you have Mistress Spells, even Frost Fingers can be pretty nice. But we'll roll with that there. At level 3, we get to choose a Pact Boon, and we're obviously going to go Pact of the Blade, which will use our Charisma modifier for weapon attacks, and once we make it to level 5, we get another extra attack, and this will actually stack with the Paladin's extra attack, so that becomes quite strong. Now we get to choose a few different spells. I normally like to take Misty Step and Hold Person, but we actually get those from taking Vengeance Paladin, so we're not going to take them just yet. We'll actually take Scorching Ray or Mirror Image for our spells. Even Darkness has some benefits, because once we get to level 5, we get to pick another Eldritch Invocation, and we can take the ability to see in Magical Darkness, which is really strong. And for our next cantrip, Booming Blade, but if you don't have Mistress Spells, you'd take Bone Chill or Minor Illusion. And for our next level spell, some people really like Clouded Daggers as well. It can be a good fun one, but I'm going to just go with Darkness because we can really make big benefits out of that. And we're going to take a feat to increase our Charisma up to 18, as that's just, you know, Charisma is going to be our main stat that we focus on. Now, at this level, we get ourselves the extra attack, which is really nice. And we can also take Hunger of Hadar or Fireball, two very powerful spells that just open things up a lot for us. Eldritch Invocation, we're going to take Devil's Sight here to give us the Magical Darkness Vision, which is really good. At level 6, we get ourselves the Dark One's Olden Luck, adding 1d10 to an ability check, and we get to choose another spell. For that, we'll take Fireball, because it's Fireball. It's a good spell. And at level 7, we get to choose another Eldritch Invocation, and you can, if you got, there's mods that allow things like the Eldritch Smite, which will give you a force damage smite, which is really nice. Even Eldritch Spear, which will double the range of your Eldritch Blast. That can be really fun. If you don't have those mods, you can go with the like Beguiling Influence here, which give you proficiency in Deception and Persuasion, which are two very common skills that you need. I'm going to go with the Eldritch Spear to double our Eldritch Blast range, because that's just nice to be able to hit targets that are really far away from us. We get some level 4 spells. None of them really stand out too much. There is Wall of Fire if you took the Fiend, because that's a spell that you get from there. Mirror Image can also be one that you can go with. Arautham's Psychic Lance if you got Mistress Spells. This is probably the strongest choice, so we're going to go with that there just because of the benefits that it brings. It's a very offensive spell. At level 8, we get to choose another spell, and we can take Fireball here, or Counterspell, but Counterspell just sucks up your spell slots too quickly. And for our feat, we can go with another ability score improvement because 20 Charisma is just a nice thing to have. At level 9 here, we get another choice in Eldritch Invocation, and we get a spell choice, with Cone of Cold being my personal pick. This is the Fiend spell that's just fun, and Cone of Cold is extremely useful too. Eldritch Invocation, we can take the Minions of Chaos, which gives us a free casting of Conjure Elemental. That's obviously quite good because an extra, anytime you can get a summon without a concentration, that's huge. You get the Fiendish Resilience here at level 10, and we can take another cantrip. We'll go with Frostbite. And for our spell, Hold Monster is just very useful to have, so we're going to want that. There's some fights in the game that Hold Monster just makes really easy. Now we get our Mystic Arcanum here at level 11, which we can take Circle of Death. Create Undead's fun too. Mistress Spells gives you Conjure Fey and Psychic Crush, are two really strong ones, but we're going to go with just a Circle of Death because that hits in a huge area. It's a free cast of a level 6 spell. Thumbs up. We can also get the Infernal Calling here if you have Mistress Spells, which gives you a Devil from the Nine Hells. There's also the Synaptic Static if you got Mistress Spells, and I think that that's the strongest choice here, so we're going to go with that. There's a lot of great Mistress Spells, so highly recommend that mod in addition to the level 20 mod. And once we hit ourselves level 12, there's a few good options. But we get ourselves Life Drinker, which will add charisma damage equal to your, or add necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. So we can get some pretty big damage numbers there. And for our final leveled spell from the Warlock selection, you can also go down in levels here. So like Agonizer Scorcher is a good fire damage spell. And with that, we can also cast it with our Paladin spell slots, or Frost Fingers is another nice one too if you wanted a lower level spell. Or you can also go with like a higher level spell. We just don't got many spells to choose from. And we get ourselves another feat. Alert for the +5 initiative is really good. We can also go with the Savage Attacker. Great Weapon Master if you want to focus on two-handed weapons. But I'm just going to go with the Alert feat. This just adds a lot of extra things to the game. You can go level 13 and take another Mystic Arcanum here, but I think that this is the perfect time to add in the Paladin. So we can go with the Paladin here. We get ourselves the choice between Ancients, Vengeance, and Devotion. The Vengeance is the choice that I think is best. It adds radiant damage to attacks, and we can daze enemies. And with those days, we can set up our Hold Person much easier. Now, once we make it to level 2, we get to choose our spells here. I think Dueling is a good choice because we're going to go with a shield. But if you're going with a two-handed weapon, go with Great Weapon Fighting. And then for our prepared spells, I think it's good to have all the smites. Narrative Command from the Warlock spell slot. You don't have to take the Warlock version of it. But the Paladin, we're going to basically be using all, we don't use all these spells. So the Paladin just has a lot of options. Then we get Vow of Enmity at level 3 here. Apply this to yourself. You'll have advantage on attack rolls against all targets. I don't really like using Bane. It's just fair. And Hunter's Mark is just fair as well. So we'll leave our spells as such. And then once we make our way to level 4, we get another Lay Hands charge. We get to prepare another spell, and we get to choose another feat. Now, there are some good choices here. We can also just go with an ability score improvement to our dexterity or strength, but we're using charisma for all of our attacks. So Savage Attacker can be nice for re-rolling damage dice twice. Just really useful. So you can also go Dual Wielder if you want to use two-handed weapons or two weapons, but I don't think this build really works as well that way. So we're going to go with the Savage Attacker. And once we get level 5 here, we get our extra attack from the Paladin. So that's 3 extra attacks. We get Hold Person, and we get Misty Step. So lots of great choices for spells there. And then we can also take Branding Smite. So if you got any pesky invisible targets, and we can also take Aid too if you want to go with that. Now for the final level, there's a couple final levels. We get ourselves Aura Protection. We go level 6 with the Paladin, which is obviously really nice. If we go with the Fighter, we can also get Action Surge. So we're going to go with this here because getting the extra +5 or +6 to your saving throws is really nice. And then for the final level, we can go with our you can get Relentless Avenger if you want an opportunity attack, but you'd want to take Sentinel for this to be effective. And I think it's just better to go with Action Surge. Action Surge is really good. It's just Action Surge, as you know. It's powerful. Now, what we're going to be rolling with for gear, I just have this here. It's the Baldur's Gate Watch Armor. Just look cool, so I want to put that on. But I think that either the Armor of Agility or the Armor of Persistence is going to be our best option for armor. So we have 27 armor class with a shield on. And we can also go with, like, if you got the Heldusk armor, that's another choice, but I'd rather that on like a wizard that doesn't normally get that armor choice. We get 28 armor class that way. We'll get 27 with the Armor of Persistence, which is a nice choice too, because with the Armor of Persistence, we can get Blade Ward and Resistance. Having a hard time finding it here. There we go. And it also will reduce all incoming damage by 2. So that could be another fun choice too, because it just gives us a good amount of defense. Now I also went with the Mask of Soul Perception for increased attack rolls. However, you can also go with the Baldur and Giant Slayer, which will give us stun immunity, can't get critical hit, increase our armor class and saving throws, and it'll heal us each turn. So this will also put our armor class up to 28. Cloak of Protection, Boots of Protection, Ring of Protection, just full on tank build here. And you can also swap these out if you want something different for boots. Like Nair's boots are good because we have Cone of Cold. We can set up icy surfaces. Really whatever boots you got best. Helldesk just makes sense here with the increased spell attack roll, spell save DC, and additional fire damage because we're going to do melee attacks and spell casting. Ring of Protection, Killer Sweetheart, and Amulet of Greater Health, and also the Hellrider's Longbow for the increased initiative. So we'll always pretty much be moving first. The Sharp Spear in the evening is a nice way to set up darkness too. But I actually think this works better if you have a companion that has this weapon on, because you can set up darkness and 2 of you can have the ability to see in the darkness, which is really good. But how we're going to be setting up, so we got ourselves a couple options here. So with our weapon, we get ourselves the Cambion that we can summon in. This is just nice to pull aggro from around. And then we also got ourselves Conjure Elemental, which I think the best way to actually do this is to take the Staff of Spell Power, which will give you a free cast. So then we can use our Arcane Battery to give ourselves that free summon. I lost the Cambion there because I pulled this out, my bad. Should have done this first. Then you can summon in like a Water Elemental, which is probably the strongest version here. I'm having issues where I can't use the Fire Elemental. It changes it to a key point. Not sure what mod's causing that issue, but we got ourselves a Water Elemental there now. And then typically we would have the Cambion, but it does take a long rest for that to come back. So I'll just do it without the Cambion. Normally it would just draw aggro from us. So we also got ourselves the Aura of Protection, so we can pop that up. And this will give us a nice +5 to all saving throws. We can also go with the Birthright Hat, which will give us a increase of +1, and also increase our saving throws to +6, because the extra 2 charisma does actually give us a nice benefit. So that could be another choice too if you want to decrease your armor class but increase your spell or your attack rolls. And then we're also going to obviously bind our packed weapon here, and this weapon also is pretty much a bound weapon normally because it uses your spell attack rolls instead of your weapon attack rolls. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to go set up into combat, and I'll show off what we'll be doing. So I'll get my lovely assistant Shadowheart here to set up for us so we can just go off with a Create Water upcasted. Create Water is obviously very strong because with this you can create ice surfaces that will just mess with everyone. So we'll just apply that down there, and then to start combat I also applied haste to herself. And we're going to start off with a Cone of Cold, because you can see here this hits a ton of enemies, and I'll just inch myself forwards a little bit more to hit that final one, and we can hit everyone here. Ooh, I don't think we can. There we go. We can hit everyone. So we'll start off with a Cone of Cold here, just because the damage is going to be doubled. And we just got ourselves into a fight. And what was nice about that is we took out a good number of them. So that was perfect. Now we didn't roll high enough initiative. We got that one there. That hit us, but we got blocked a couple times because our armor class is super high. Now I'm going to keep everyone else on the party out of that. Shadowheart slipped and fell. We have another action, so with this we can go around Divine Smiting. Now this is where having Nair's boots would be ideal, because with this we go with a Divine Smite. It'll actually clear up the water because Divine it's a radiant damage. We didn't finish them off unfortunately, but you can also flourish with a bonus action, so that can hopefully take them out. Perfect. That got the Life Drinker to take them out. And then we'll finish off with a few more attacks. Since we have haste, we got a lot of movement speed, and then we can get up right in their face and do a final attack with a smite. So we got level 1, 2, and 5 spell slots, so you got to be mindful of what you're using. That wasn't the most powerful attack, but we'll finish off with one more smite here, and bonk, that did finish them. Perfect. We also got Action Surge to really drive the message home if we wanted to. I think you may as well use it in this instance. The nice thing about using your Action Surge is you get yourself the option to spellcast too. So we don't have any concentrations. We can start off with like a Synaptic Strike here if we wanted to. If you have the Resonance Stone, Synaptic Strike becomes extremely useful, because then you can apply the vulnerability to psychic damage, which they now both have. So then whenever we go to use our psychic spells, they're going to strike so much more intensely. So you'll see here, this will likely take out both of them. We could also go with the Cone of Cold if we wanted to, or even drop down to Hunger of Hadar, as that's a pretty good option. So I'm actually just going to go with the Synaptic Strike here, drop it right here, which will hopefully, blast. Oh, it didn't actually finish them both off. Interesting. And then we can just end our turn roughly around here, and that's a pretty successful turn. Now that we got some targets in a good motion, we can actually just drop down a Hunger of Hadar. Unfortunately, Hunger Vidar doesn't actually benefit from having higher leveled spell. So we're using a level 5 spell slot on here. Not ideal, but I mean, it is what it is with the Warlock. That's just how they operate. So we can use the Hunger Vidar there to just crowd control, create some darkness. And then with this, we can use our next action to just finish off this targets around here and just attack with our Divine Smite. And we only have three options or 3 attacks left. So we'll just use a level 1 spell here. Finish them off. We got ourselves the Dark One's Blessing too. Don't have movement speed to be able to hit them, so we'll just finish off with arrows. Now, you could also, if we didn't use our action, use Eldritch Blast. It's obviously a very powerful spell to have. So we got ourselves a critical hit there, and Fairy Fire from the bow, which is nice. I almost attacked my own teammate, and then we'll just attack whoever's got the... I guess they all got a pretty good amount of health, so we'll just hit the closest one here with their bow attack and call that a day. We can also apply the Bow of Enmity to ourselves, which will give us the advantage on attack rolls, which is really, really strong. Will's looking pretty strong here, so that's nice. And we also got ourselves this Elemental here, which can go in and unfortunately doesn't have enough movement speed to attack them, but it can be a good way to hold aggro. It'll take damage when it's in the Hunger Vidar, but Hunger Vidar creates a difficult terrain. Oh, command. We saved it, and they're immune to command grovel, which is hilarious. Luckily we got that save off, because otherwise that would have been rough. But Will's got a good armor class, so he's pretty defensive here, as you can see. And yeah, they're doing some weird options. I find Hunger Vidar oftentimes makes the enemy AI work a little bit weirdly, so that is perfectly in our benefit. And what's nice about this is we got, I guess we'll try to, I don't think you can knock people off ledges with this, but we can go with our Eldritch Blast. So this is nice because Eldritch Blast will literally just allow you to keep pushing them into the Hunger Vidar longer and longer. And that obviously leads to some fun effects. We'll go ahead and smite them and probably finish them off this way. Perfect. And then finish with a couple bow attacks on... I think it's probably best to go with them, even though they're the furthest away, because they got a bow, so they're not afraid to use it. And we also got ourselves Piercing Shot, so you can go with that. I guess that requires to get up close. But this extra damage from the fire gloves are nice. It wasn't the best damage rolls, but we'll just call that there. And I'll send everyone's turns. I probably could attack with the water elemental, but it's great for just tanking even. That's the nice thing about summons, is they're very tanky. They're just going to continue to take damage from the Hunger Vidar here and try to move around, even though they got slow movement and a volley, which weird choice just to hit a single target. But yeah, that's the big benefit of having an elemental. They're great for tanking for us. So and then we can also just follow up with, since Eldritch Blast is based off our level, we can do a quad attack of Eldritch Blast. So there's 4 of them. They have 1 single health point left, so we're going to finish them off with this. And here is the Eldritch Blast finisher. Pretty good, honestly. So we didn't even take a single point of damage. Will is very powerful. As a Warlock Paladin, I feel like this is the Blade of Frontiers through and through. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.